Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monday Night America here on the NDB Media Network. I am your host, Roger Noriega. Thank you for joining me on this glorious December 9th. And it is the holiday season here in the United States, and it's been for some time, I suppose, since late October, going well into November. And now we are in December, of course, with several holidays coming up. I'm not going to talk about New Year's because obviously that's 2025, but we do have the Christmas season, which will be at the end of the month, traditionally the 24th and the 25th, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Christmas Day being a national holiday here in the United States. And that holiday will be on Wednesday the 25th. Vast majority of people in the United States are off from work and will spend time with their families, and it is an absolutely wonderful time. Being that we are in the northern climes of the earth, I suppose, in the United States, it is cold at this time of year. And then, of course, the southern continent, it is very, very warm. The interesting thing that we were talking to a co-host on a program this past Saturday, that it seems a tad odd that, for at least for me and for others, that you would be celebrating Christmas in the summer. Now, we've had heat waves and stuff like that up here where it is short sleeve and sandal weather, I suppose. They're rare, but we've had those warmer trends. But I just don't understand the whole idea of going to the beach for Christmas. It just doesn't follow. And sure enough, what do I hear? I hear something. The door to the office is open and it's outside. And to give you an idea, it's 61 degrees here in Southern California. And hey, oh, sorry, I was distracted. Well, so much for the game if I'm here. So what's the details? What's going on Monday night? Well, you know what? I guess I'll just check for myself. I guess it's a blowout. Either the Cowboys are winning absolutely hugosely big time, or, well, they're tied 7-7. I don't get it. What? Did the game get canceled? It's 7-7. That's a close game. No, I don't want any updates from NFL.com. But why? What's going on, Elizabeth Olivia Cooper? So, there it is, the audible pause, or I forget what it's called in speech. Those specific words. But 7-7, yeah, that's a drink for many people. Which my drink is hidden behind the flags. I do notice that a lot of my boxes are knocked over. So I don't know if those are the cats, but I did see the Battlestar Galactica box on the floor over on the other side, but I can't pick it up. I'm very limited what I'm able to do right now. So the box is going to remain on the floor until Gmo or someone else is able to get out here. I can't lift things above my shoulders, and I can't bend down to pick up things. It's difficult, but that's neither here nor there. I won't talk about that on Saturday night. There's no need, but that's okay. And I don't have a drink. Oh, I only have Pepsi right now. I don't know if I want that at the moment. I found out that I could have a soda. At least I thought I could have a soda anytime. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had a soda at about 2:30 in the morning. Oh, did I end up paying for it all day? Man, he was painful. He was very, very painful. Oh, Pancakes R Us. Went to breakfast with 2 classmates today. It's kind of neat, kind of cool. I enjoy that privilege of being able to go out with a few classmates and stuff. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. But folks, we are going to be talking about paranormal here in the holiday seasons. So I ask you to bear with me. But I have something for you right now. And this is from the Paranormal Playground. Spirits of the holidays just aren't about festive cheer and goodwill. For many, they evoke tales of heightened paranormal activity and ghost encounters. Indeed, the festive season, with its traditions, gatherings, and heightened emotions, seem to create a unique atmosphere where the veil between the worlds thins. And it's thin right here. And the spirits of the past draw closer, whether it's the flickering candlelight casting eerie shadows or the nostalgic memories stirring deep within us. The holidays often bring a sense of wonder and mystery, inviting us to explore the possibility of the unseen. Now, I don't remember exactly when the most vivid paranormal activity I ever had was when I was at home on the weekend from school, and of course, my recently passed brother uh, was there to visit. He woke me up. It was either Friday night or Saturday night. And the amusing thing is, no, I was glad that he came over to visit. My brother Lewis, he worked and he worked and he worked. I would dare I say that he and I have that in common. And we're not afraid of hard work. But I tell you, I'm exhausted, man. I am exhausted today. I woke up at 5:40, so minutes before this program. I was home by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I drove a friend back home, and it was about 100 miles away. Oh, after the 30, 40-mile mark, oh my goodness, it was absolutely horrid. And it's 100 miles one way and 100 miles coming back. That was difficult, but doesn't matter. I've always loved driving at night. When I'm going to Las Vegas, I haven't been to Las Vegas since 2022. So, oh wait, did I go in 2023? No, at least 2022 in the summer for the Vikings and Raiders preseason game in 2022, game one. So that was early August. I went to visit with a classmate of mine who was on Sports Talk with the Guys on Saturday. But I flew, coincidentally enough, that day, and he picked me up from the airport. And he was very kind to host me for that weekend, and it was a lot of fun. I have to admit, it was a lot of fun. I hadn't seen him in over 10 years, and he was a gracious host and stuff. But that was in Vegas. That was that football stuff. I love driving at night. Now, I've talked about in other programs how a host, an author who writes horror books, zombie, and other cryptids out of the Springfield, Missouri area, said that he tells stories about animals that hunt human beings. And he talks of the time when we were hunted as opposed to the hunters. And I took that along with many other things in my life. And I talked about it in previous programs where when you see something out of the corner of your eye, you're driving or you're in your office and you look up because you think you hear something, see something. I firmly believe that is the DNA that we have in us that is keeping us alive, because our ancestors were the ones that survived when we were being hunted. The ones that were perky ears or hearing, and they were able to live. The DNA from that ancestor made it. And I believe that having those notices are what has kept us alive, awake at night, or has kept us, hi Tony, has kept us alive. It's embedded in our DNA, and it's been that way for not decades, not centuries, not eons, but millennia. Eons, millennia. Whatever. So people have that. And that is one of the things that I took from that author. as well as my own thinking. And that's the stuff that keeps us alive. And it is so embedded in our DNA that we are the ones, along with our ancestors, have made it from a time that we were hunted by things that were frightening. Elizabeth, in addition to talking about it being a frustrating game, says, speaking of Christmas spirits, have you heard of Resurrection Mary? No, I have not. She is a phantom type figure from Chicago. She is known to be seen at Christmas time. Wow. All right. Oops, sorry. The chair controller's getting in the way. Yes, my sister's got me that. I have not heard of Resurrection Mary, and I'm going to have to check her out. I'm going to have to read up on her because I'm not going to go and check her out. I had not heard of it. Let's do a quick search of Resurrection Mary. Oh, wow. I began typing in the word in Google, the Google search bar, resurrect, and it finished it off with Mary. I was typing Resurr, and then it finished it off with Resurrection Mary. Chicago. Wow. Ooh. Interesting. Resurrection Mary is a well-known Chicago area ghost story of the vanishing hitchhiker type, a type of folklore that is known to many cultures. And I was going to talk about the culture stuff right now. I told you that my geography, and then I took cultural geography. Man, that's what really changed my life. Cultural geography. Because when I was reading geography, I know all that stuff. No, I didn't. But it is something I was familiar with. According to the story, the ghost resides in Resurrection Cemetery in Justice, Illinois. Oh, Justice. Justice, Illinois. A few miles southwest of Chicago. Southwest. Okay, I see that because if it was southeast, it's probably in Lake Michigan. The young woman is dressed somewhat formally in a white party dress and is said to have light blonde hair and blue eyes. I'll get back to my closest story. The one that my brother and I encountered. I've told you guys that in the past, but I'm going to tell it again because there's a point to it. There's always a point to Scorekeeper's ramblings. Whoa, Roger's ramblings. She's said to have light blonde hair and blue eyes. There are other reports that she wears a thin shawl, dancing shoes, and carries a small clutch purse, and possibly that she is very quiet. As the driver nears Resurrection Cemetery, she disappears into it. According to the Chicago Tribune, full-time ghost hunter Richard Crow has collected 3 dozen. Okay, hold on. 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12. 3 dozen substantiated reports of Mary from the 1930s to the present. The story goes that Mary had spent the evening dancing with a boyfriend at the O. Henry Ballroom. Ooh. Oh, look at this. Told you when we first met, paranormal is my thing. Well, if it's your thing, get in here. And if Tony would like to join us, I know he's on vacation, though, so I don't want to push him to. But if you'd like to join us, you're more than welcome, Tony. But I know Monday Night Football is on, and I understand your priorities, brother. So it's all good. And Sister Elizabeth. Ooh. Are we some sort of weird sect? SECT. And I would be the resident dictator. Dictator. The story goes that Mary spent the evening dancing with a boyfriend at the O. Henry Ballroom. At some point, they got into an argument and Mary stormed out. I'm going to see if I can get some imagery up right now, folks, on Resurrection Mary. So bear with me a moment. Let me back up a bit. Oh, wow. There may be some imagery that I'm going to have in a moment, but anyway. Come on back. Where are you? Resurrection Mary, where are you? Oh, of course I backed out. Oh, what a shock. At some point, they got into an argument and Mary stormed out. She left the ballroom and started walking up Archer Avenue. She hadn't gone far when she was struck and killed by a hit-and-run driver who fled the scene, leaving Mary to die. So even then, in the 1930s, this happened, hit-and-run drivers? Sheesh, guess healthcare was bad. Oh, that was during the Depression. Who fled the scene, leaving Mary to die. Her parents found her, were grief-stricken at the sight of her dead body. They buried her in Resurrection Cemetery, wearing a beautiful white dancing dress and matching dancing shoes. The hit and run driver was never found. Reported sightings about Resurrection Mary. A Chicago South Sider reported that in 1939 he met a person whom he came to believe was Resurrection Mary at Liberty Grove and Hall at 47th and Mozart. They danced and even kissed, and she asked him to drive her home along Archer Avenue, exiting the car and disappearing in front of Resurrection Cemetery. In 1973, Resurrection Mary was said to have shown up at Harlow's nightclub on Cicero Avenue on Chicago's southwest side. That same year, a cab driver came into Chef's Moody Lounge across the street from Resurrection Cemetery to inquire about a young lady who had left without paying her fare. But of course, they were said to be sightings in 1976, 78, 80, and 89, which involved cars striking or nearly striking Mary outside Resurrection Cemetery. Mary disappears, however, by the time the motorist exits the car. She's also reportedly burned her handprints into the wrought iron fence around the cemetery. And I believe we have an image of that. Check that out. Wow. Check that out. Okay, that's the closest I can get, I believe. Look at that. Ooh, crazy. Did I do it again? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Blockhead. This happened apparently in August of 1976, although officials at the cemetery have stated that a truck had damaged the fence and that there was no evidence of a ghost. In a January 31st, 1979 article in the Suburban Tribe, columnist Bill Geist detailed the story of a cab driver, Ralph, who picked up a young woman, a looker, a blonde. She was young enough to be my daughter, 21 tops, near a small shopping center on Archer Avenue. And the story goes, a couple miles up Archer there, she jumped with a start like a horse and said, "Here, here!" I hit the brakes. I looked around and didn't see no kind of house. "Where?" I said, but where? I asked, but whatever. And then she sticks out her arm and points across the road to my left and says, "There!" And that's when it happened. I looked to my left like this at this little shack. And when I turned, she was gone, vanished, and the car door never opened. May the good Lord strike me dead. It never happened. Geist described Ralph as not an idiot or a maniac, but rather, in Ralph's own words, a typical 52-year-old working guy, a veteran father, Little League baseball coach, churchgoer, the whole shot. Geist's story goes on to say, the simple explanation, Ralph, is that you picked up the Chicago area's preeminent ghost, Resurrection Mary. Some researchers have attempted to link Resurrection Mary to one of the many thousands of burials in Resurrection Cemetery. A particular focus of these efforts has been Mary Bregovy, who died in 1934, although her death came in an automobile accident in the downtown Chicago Loop. In 1999, Chicago author Ursula Belsky documented a possible connection to Anna Maria Norcus, who died in a 1927 auto accident while on her way home from the aforementioned O. Henry Ballroom. This theory has gained popularity in recent years. I did not know that one. So I do appreciate that one. This is Resurrection Mary. I'm going to put the link in the chat room. So if you'd like to go and check it out yourself, there is some imagery on Resurrection Mary. Oh, I apologize. This image, this ghostly image, was taken at the Electric Theater nightclub at 4812 North Clark Street, Chicago, on April 5th, First Contact Day, 1968. So about 12 days in a year before I entered this place. This is part of the Chicago Times collection. Chicagoland has a lot of ghost stories, but none are well known. None are as well known as the infamous Resurrection Mary. Wow. While this was worn as a wedding dress, it demonstrates 1930 style silk satin and lace with silk flowers. This hairstylist mannequin is the best thing they have, probably to the beehive style that Mary may have worn. As I mentioned earlier, Mary is supposedly buried at Resurrection Cemetery in Justice, Illinois. She usually sticks to a stretch of road on Archer Avenue, as I mentioned. I did not know of that story. Oh, the O. Henry Ballroom has been renamed to the Willowbrook Ballroom in Willow Springs. Now, there is no conclusive answer as to a connection, but these are various metallic women's pumps circa 1930. Wow. Ain't that nasty? So if you have any stories that you would like to share and you're worried about sharing stories, go ahead and contact us. This is a safe place, as safe as can be. And if you are interested in regaling us in your adventures, everything you've done, by all means, come on over and join us. I would be absolutely thrilled. If Tony has a story that he would like to tell us, I would be most gratified. If Elizabeth has a story that she would like to share with us. You do remember that, I believe it may not have been last week, but the week before, Big Dog was sharing the story of a mountain not too far from us. It's about 20 minutes away from here. It's a good climb. You have to have boots. You know, it's a good climb, but you can get to the top in under an hour. This is not Mount Everest, but you have to be in decent shape to get up there. So, if I remember correctly, oh, my coffee cup. Oh, there's life forms in there. There's a culture and a civilization. I wonder if I would leave this. There's things going on in there. Ugh, I left it here. Anyway, there's culture there. There's Picard in that story. Well, there it sits. Well, actually, it's wobbling around and floating on something. This happened. It was after the movie Aliens, because it was out, obviously. We were watching the movie Aliens. So this probably was sometime after my could have been in my senior year. So remember, the movie Aliens was out in 86. I graduated high school in 87. So as the story goes, my brother came over to watch the movie, and we were watching in the middle of the night. So I don't know if the VHS tape was out. So I may not have been home from high school. It's Whoville, Roger. There are snow-capped mountains. There are valleys. Some oceans. Wow. There's life there. It's there. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. My remembrance is that he was there on the weekend. My grandmother was home, of course. So there would have it was just the two of us. My brother left work sometime after midnight, came up here and awakened me. And I'm sitting on my chair looking at the black and white TV. It was about 12 or 18-inch TV. No, it was more than a 12-inch. And it may not have been a black and white TV, but this is 1986, 87. And to have a black and white TV in that time was not a big deal. You'd have a color TV and you could also have a black and white TV. Because remember, we used to hook up our monitors to black and white TVs and color TVs. So it didn't matter at the time. But you wanted color because colors colors came with computers. But anyway. Sorry. Oh, there's the coffee. I was sitting back, we're watching Aliens, and my brother was reclining on my bed. So he was looking at the TV. So he was closer to me than he was to the TV. And I'm sitting there because I had my desk, because of all things, think of those old metal teacher desks in the 70s and 80s, 2 drawers on both sides and wooden top, whatever. And that was behind me. And my chair was on 5, casters. So I can roll back and forth. Actually, it might have only been 4 at the time, because the 5 came out as a safety measure later. But it's neither here nor there. So I could roll back and forth just like Gorman did in Aliens. And I had a headset back then. It was fun. It was awesome. I had a very short little command center in my room. But anyway, sitting back watching, and then it passed by. I looked back. My brother caught movement as well. And we made eye contact, and he, being 8 years older, go look. All right. I get up. The door's right, a foot or 2 feet away, maybe 3 feet. I get up, poke my head out, and then there's a door right next to me to the other bedroom, which was vacant at the time. Did a little U-turn to go right in there, open the door, put the light on. It was vacant. No one was in there. It was empty. And no one was there. So I came back out, and then there's another door at a 90-degree angle to the bedroom. And I opened it, and of course I'm like, duh, that's the door to the heater in the house. And then there's another door next to it, and it was a bathroom, and I knocked on it. And I opened the door, and it was dark, and I put the light on. So I walked back past where I was seated, turned the corner, and as I got close, I could hear the slight snore of my grandmother. It's very slight. She was breathing, but a slight snore. She did not snore, but you know what I mean. She's asleep. I went right back in there to the room, and I'm telling my brother, Grandma's asleep. What did you see? And at that point, we both described an elderly man in his 50s, thin, wearing, and we both distinctly saw a guayabera. That is a shirt that is worn on Sundays and holidays in the Philippines, as well as in Mexico. Sunday dress shirt. And it was very specific that we were able to make that out. And a guayabera is like this. Oh man, I actually found it right away. I'm not trying to endorse Amazon, but this gives you an idea. This is a guayabera. It hangs over your belt, and I've had a guayabera myself. And you see, it hangs over the belt, and it is a dress shirt. It's a very nice shirt, and he was wearing one of those. So I don't know if we saw the color. We knew he was wearing pants as well, duh, and shoes. And just walked by, man. Just walked by. And we described the same individual about 5'6". And to this day, I still remember that vividly. It haunts me, for lack of a better word. And that is one of the most vivid moments that I've had. And the reason why I referenced that author and what he had mentioned, and I come to, he said that we see things from a time that we were hunted. Now, when we're living our lives, there's a flash of light or something moves past us very fast. Sometimes it's a bird, sometimes it's a fly, sometimes it's a very pissed off spouse. Whatever it is, sometimes you're able to make it out, sometimes you're not. But the imagery and things that I'm talking about that's nestled in our DNA is our psyche, that our DNA survived by the people that always reacted to noises and things that go bump in the night, for lack of a better word. My ancestors survived because we were wiry, we were careful, we were able to stay awake, and our psyche deep down is what has kept us alive. And that's why many of us, I believe for the longest time, see those things. It is our brain hardwired through our ancestors that survived see these things, and it keeps our brain active. When we are reading or we're falling asleep, we'll be awakened by something. Either we think we see it, an image, or again, movement. To take a phrase from Aliens, movement. What's the position? They're all around us. Talk to me, Hudson. They're closing. What a frightening movie. James Cameron, thank you very much. I didn't see a flash of light. I didn't see a blurred image. I saw an older male, well dressed, walk by me. Now, I wasn't on a park bench 10, 18, 30 feet away. I was 3 feet away from it. And it walked right by me. And my brother saw the exact same thing. That we saw the movement, like when someone walks by when you're at an event, the dinner table, you're at a football game, and someone enters your peripheral vision and you look over. That's exactly what it was. Now, I am a man of faith. Many of you know I studied for a short time in high school at a seminary. Greatest 4 years of my life. Sorry, Gmo. Sorry, Ariel. You were moments in my life. They were the greatest 4 years of my life, and I consider myself blessed, privileged that many of the people that are in my life today are those very same classmates. They're still in my life. People I met in 1983, 84, 85, 86, and 87. They are a significant majority position of people in my life. I studied there and I learned about, of all things, you hear ghost stories at the seminary that was in San Fernando. Our Lady Queen of the Angels High School Seminary. It's now closed. It has been replaced by the Alamany, the School to the North, off brand in Mission Hills. I saw things there, and I've really shied away from those stories because those stories are odd. Because it was a place of worship, it was a place of study where we generally don't believe such things in that way. But I do have a frightening story that I've never ever, and I cannot believe my knee is jumping up and down. And the only way I would tell it is if my buddy who was on the sports program on Sunday, Fausto, because he went through it with me. And it is a frightening one. It is a connection that I rarely ever talk about. But it's in contravention to what I believe. So that's what really throws me. That's why many times it's not that, I mean, I am jaundiced of stories and, you know, hauntings, cryptids, monsters. I don't believe that they're monsters per se, but they are things that either we witness to keep us awake, our psyche, or they really are something. And I'm alluding to a story of something really happening in the seminary. And it's a story that I'm gonna have to write down again so I make sure I have all the details. But it's something that I have never publicly told that story, and I guess by admitting it now is the first step. I am not ready to tell that story today. I would have to tell it with the person that went through it with me. And I don't know if he's really keen on talking about it either. He remembers it, he knows, but I don't know. We don't read. Hi, I'm Roger. Hey, I'm a Yankee fan and I'm a baseball fan. Hey, do you know that I met up with an evil spirit at a seminary, no less? See, that's what I'm talking about. It's see, I am not going there tonight. No. The one that happened in my grandma's house is the second most vivid thing that I've had happen in my life. And that one is the one that I will readily talk about. I did not detect any maliciousness. I did not feel anything. I've told you, oh man, I told you what happened here in this office, well, garage on a summer day. And this is recent. This is within the last 2-3 years. It was in the 80s, and I'm here in the office and I'm doing my work, and all of a sudden I look down, and as I'm breathing, I can see cold air. My breath is crystallizing. It was 80 some degrees. And it was cold in here. A hell of a lot colder than it is now. And knowing that I was breathing and my exhalation was frosty, I got up and got the hell out. I've been told that when something like that happens, something crossed the line and touched you. I haven't looked very much into that because I don't like reliving that one either, but I have shared that one. So, folks, think about it. I've seen something walk by me. I've seen the temperature change. from 80 some degrees to freezing. I talk about that, but I'm not ready to discuss what happened in my high school. Excuse me. And I don't remember if it happened in my senior year or my junior year because I was a junior when I met Fausto. He was a freshman. So I don't know. It might have been senior year. I don't remember. I'd have to ask him again. I don't have the exact timeline because, again, that one's a little fuzzy and I will probably miss some of the details. But yeah, that one. And the thing about that one is it happened over several nights. They weren't consecutive or anything, but something was there. So when I hear people say, "Oh, I felt this and I felt," it crystallizes in my mind. Pardon the pun of what happened in here, right? Crystallizes. I can't quantify it, but it's different. It's a heaviness that hangs in the air. And it doesn't exactly come across as I am evil, but there's no wind, no wisp of air, but there's a heaviness. It feels dark. I know that's odd to say, but it's the best way that I can verbalize. And it's like you can feel it. Like there's a weight to it. Now we know gas is wind. There is weight to that, physics and all that stuff. So for me to say, oh wow, there's a weight to it, duh. And I'm not trying to be facetious, folks. I really don't like talking about that one all that much. When people say that they felt an energy, yeah, or that something was there, folks, I'm like, yes. I can say yes to that. I'm going to have to work up my nerve to revisit that one. I am not in a hurry to revisit it. It is something that happened early in my life when I was in high school. And I suppose what frightened me is where I was, a place of worship. I'm going to have to put my thoughts down on paper and maybe I'll have it early next year because no, I'm not teasing in that, oh, hey, here's a story. And, oh, yeah, you know what? Might as well. No. No, this happened over several days. It may have been 2 or 3 weeks. Not 3 consecutive weeks, but it happened over that time frame. But I have to go over it. I have to think about it because there were specific events and there were specific points. I believe if you go to the high school now, you can see imagery of it. You know what? I'm going to go to Google Maps right now. Because it's a school, but before that it was a seminary. So you have imagery from inside the building. Yes, Bishop Alemany High School. Ooh. I've mentioned this high school. Here it is, folks. This is the 5 freeway, Interstate 5. This is Burbank Hollywood Airport down here. And to give you an idea, for those of you, this is the original Alemany High School. And they still have the football field on this side. But due to some, the Northridge quake and stuff, it was damaged. This is my old high school. Now, this is the original San Fernando mission, to give you an idea where I went to high school. I didn't go to school here, but this is where I went to school. This is the east side. This was here. These are the dorms right in here. This didn't exist at the time. Dorms were here on this side, and these are the classrooms around here that come around here. And this is the chapel itself. See, look, Bishop Alamany High. And I've told you that the background is at the Cathedral of the Angels. But this is where I went to school. I was privileged, guys. I really was. Let's see. There's the grotto. I have a high school picture that was taken right there. And funny, if that's a female student, they were all boys at the time. So I don't know if there are any other images, but here's the chapel. And it happened in this area right here. So there are classrooms along here and along here, and the classrooms are here. The sacristy is right in here, and this is the chapel itself. And then this is the this is the library over here. This is study hall at the time, and this is the mission right here. These are the buildings of the mission. This is the refectory. We used to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. Elizabeth says, one day I'll come on and tell you my experience with something very evil and what I truly feel. As someone who studied priesthood, you will understand. Very kind of you. I didn't study priesthood per se. I studied religion. And folks, this is the stuck-up Roger. If you look up the word religion, it is from the Latin word religare. And it is, definitions have been added to it. But the original genuine definition, which I believe in Webster's and all, it's the third definition that I'm referencing. Religare means to be with God once again. And it is literally from the Judeo-Christian book. You know it. And it refers to the fall of Adam and Eve. Religion is the means, the belief system to return or being in that eternal state of grace. See, I'm going hardcore theology. I'm trying to dim it down a little bit, which is kind of impossible. But religion is the means or the way that you return to being in that state of happiness, grace, purity, paradise, being in paradise. The word religion means basically to be with God once again. I find it absolutely amusing when people say, well, my religion doesn't believe in God. My to be with God once again doesn't believe in God. So I don't use it in the pure sense of the word when I talk to people and I say, what is your religion? What is this? I believe you've heard me over the years where I say, what is your belief system? I do not ask people what their religion is per se for that very reason. I ask, what is your belief system? And most people will answer what their religion or whatever is. And that's not being overtly stuck up. But I do find it amusing when people do say that my religion doesn't believe in God. But other definitions have been added to it. So, but the Latin word religare means exactly that. See, that's what I'm telling you. I studied words. Oh, look, if you look up religare, there's an Enterprises Limited. That's funny. It's a trading thing. It's a trading company. So if you look up the word religare, Religare, which means to bind back, to rebind. So what did I just tell you? What did I just say is to be once again? See, and this implies that etymologically speaking, religion entails a process of reconnecting by worship, a missing or broken intimacy between God and worshipers. What did I just tell you? I broke it down, I dumbed it down, and I said that religion is to be with God once again. It is the means. So I just gave you the Roger definition of religare, which means to bind back or to be with once again. That is what religare means. And the word religion comes from religare. So again, sorry, when I hear people say, well, my religion doesn't believe in God or a God, I just think, don't you mean your belief system? That's stuck up Raj. I rarely ever get into my belief system or my religion because it's not that I'm on a different plane of existence. No. I've told all of you, and you can't see it right now. You know what? I'm going to see if I can take a picture, but when I turn to my right, and I used to have my clients that would sit here in front of my desk, I could look between the two of them, and I have 7 books. Actually, I'm going to get them right now. I'm going to ask you to bear with me a moment. These 7 books are the primary belief systems in the world. And I have them. Oh, look, my Klingon dictionary. Right next to it. And I have the books right now, so I ask you to bear with me a moment. They're big books. They're heavy. And there's some weight to these books that I'm saddened about because the man that I respected most of my life, my father, I found these books and they were very expensive back in the late 80s. Very, very expensive. I mean, they were about $200 for the set of books. And there's actually another book which I left up there, which I did not have. But look, I see them like this. So you have the Tanakh, which we would call the Old Testament. You have the Apocrypha and the New Testament. So there's the Bible. I have the Quran, and yes, I have read it. I've read all of this. The Rig Veda, which is Hinduism. And I have the Dhammapada, which is Buddhism. Confucianism. I could never pronounce that one correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's another book in there that I did not show you, but I see the binding of these books. And they remind me of the differences that we all have. What do we have in common? That we're human beings. But we go about things a little bit differently. And no matter who I've had sit in front of me, those are a constant reminder to our differences. But for me, as I mentioned, social geography altered my life. I've learned that these differences are a good thing. And they're worth sharing and talking about. I am interested in people. I want to know about them. And I study these books to have an idea, not to be a know-it-all and to say, I know you as well as you think. No. It's to have an idea where they're coming from so I don't make mistakes. Do you know that this gesture is an insulting gesture in another culture? And by doing this on air, I'm sorry, folks, I forget where it is. And also, we in the United States like say this, come here. Well, in another culture, that is like you're calling a dog. So I know that there are those differences, and that's why I read these. That's why I have these as my reminder. And in social geography, I was fascinated by those differences, and I read so that I don't want to make those errors. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to insult people. I know I've really gone off topic. And that was the whole thing of religare of what happened in my high school. And I think that's my defense mechanism. But that's who I am as a person. I don't pretend to know the other person. But if I hear the words and stuff, I'm like, okay, I have an idea of where they're coming from. I'm not judging them, but I'm open because I want to understand who they are and what they are. I've always believed in where we are from. That's important to me. That's why I used to celebrate birthdays. Birthdays were a big deal for me at work and in my life. I love celebrating birthdays. I always have. I when I hear someone's birthday is coming up, I love being involved in that stuff. It is the day, and I know that some belief systems don't acknowledge birthdays. Okay, fine. I know their reasoning, or I should say I understand their reasoning. It saddens me in a way, but I remember that I got through to someone that doesn't believe in celebrating their birthday, and I said, I'd like to go out on the day that you entered this world and you joined the fraternity of humanity. And I think that's kind of cool. Let's go out and have a meal. And the person turned to me and looked at me and said, I'll go with that. They don't celebrate birthdays, but I celebrated when they joined the human fraternity. That's Roger. That's who I am. It doesn't get any more real than that. I miss celebrating being at work and stuff because I would love going out of my way. It was fun. It was easy. I got away with it. I was the luckiest guy at my job. I was the morale officer. I was Neelix before Neelix. I can't fake that. Some incredible memories. And that's another thing why I learn about people and their cultures and their beliefs. And we get to paranormal stuff. And that is my fascination. Folks, I'm not into horror movies. I'm not into that stuff. That stuff scares me. I have no desire for that. You can make jokes all you want, and people do at my expense. I don't know if D.A. Roberts ever told anyone this, but we spent a lot of time communicating. And there were times that we were on the phone and we were going to end the call like 2, 3 in the morning, my time. I said, DA, would you stay on the phone with me? Because I need to walk inside and I'm scared. This was 3, 4 years ago. And he's like, yeah, sure, Raj. I'm sure. I mean, that's the way he was. He was like, sure, Raj. I'm sure in an alternate universe, he's like, sure. But hey, it is the holiday season, and there are 1 hour into the program, we're doing the holiday stuff. I did talk about them briefly, and I do appreciate Elizabeth. I don't know, man. I'm really good with the microwave. So if I had a replicator, I would be le chef. I was gonna say le incompetente. And you know where I got that from, right? Home Alone. Kevin, you are what the French say, les incompetents. Remember when the cousin or the sister, I think it was a cousin, tells him that you are the French call les incompetents. I remember that phrase. It was just funny. So I, if I were, I would do cup of noodles, ramen, chicken pozole. So oh my god, if Tony is here, I'm sure he'd get disgusted by that. It's like 18. No, wait, is it 21 sodium? 2100 sodium in an 18-ounce thing, whatever it is. Oh, even I know it's a lot of sodium. So I try to water it down and stuff. But anyway, I would survive off canned food. I am able to cook or prepare scrambled eggs. I used to, I've cooked breakfast before. Ham. I actually cooked spam once or twice. Eggs with bacon. I can do that. I can't do hash browns. You're like, what do you mean if you can do that? I've never cooked hash browns, but I've cooked bacon and eggs. Oh, hell yeah. I can do that. So I'd be able to survive on bacon and eggs. But as you know, folks, I have a lot of issues now with my hands. I can't even open up jars. So I don't know. Pickle, the cucumbers, the pickles. I love them. But I cannot open jars anymore. And that's sad. So I think there's a machine that'll do it for me. So I'm probably going to have to purchase that down the road, or I'd have to beg my daughters to open it for me, which is terribly embarrassing when you're no longer able to open a jar of pickles. So Orville, hey, Alana, would you open this jar of pickles for me? Now that phrase has a lot of meaning for me. I thought that was such a cute phrase in Orville. It was really cool. Biscuit and sausage gravy. I haven't done anything like that. No, I'm not kidding. It was bacon and eggs. And I think it was scrambled eggs. Now, when I was at Carl's Jr., there was this little metal ring that we would use for the Egg McMuffin. You squirt the oil in there. You break the egg inside that little ring, and that's where you cook the egg, so it forms that portion of the Egg McMuffin. So if I had one of those rings on a grill, I could prepare an Egg McMuffin right now, or the sunrise sausage or sunrise bacon sandwich from Carl's Jr. Oh yeah, if I'm at a restaurant, I will survive. Simple, trust me. Well, if you want to watch a horror movie, and the only way, what is that movie? Saw? If I have to cook a meal for someone to live, they're dead. That's the real horror. They're dead. Now, if they want me to bacon and eggs, they're free. I will have them free, but no, they're not going to happen. Oh, by the way, I talked about it. There it is, the Klingon dictionary. I bought this bad boy back in 1985, and I took it to the seminary. I didn't learn Latin, but I sure as hell learned Klingon. Oh, my goodness. And we were all learning Klingon, man, off this one book. And there are the 3 swear words on page 58. Kiya, Kuika, and Kuatl. Oh, my goodness. I love it. And those are the 3 swear words that we all knew. And as you know, if you watch even a little bit of Star Trek, Kiya is one of the more common swear words. There's others. Romulan swear word, Verul, or not necessarily a swear word, but an insult. Toizak, a bitak. Yeah, those are the swear words. Oh, and of course, I'd go back to Die Hard, and when what's his face Snape is talking about the models and everything, he says, the elements of a classical education. I'm like, yeah, I get that. So it was really funny. But anyway, to be privileged to prepare breakfast, they would get away and solve. But if I had to do something else, I could do a mean cup of noodles. As I mentioned, open up the chicken pozole, and I can do that. But beyond that, I don't know. I am able to prepare ramen, heat up the water. Hey, I prepare my own coffee. I don't always use the microwave. I don't use a percolator, though, and I'm thinking of doing that to hear that whistle. Well, actually, no, a percolator is different from one of those. So I thought of purchasing one of those. So when it heats the water, when the steam comes out, you hear the whistle. I find that terribly attractive. I would want to do that. But right now, I prepare my coffee. And when I finish it, oops. Oh, my goodness. It fell. Oh, this is going to suck. Hold on a minute. Hi, Jan. I have been telling some ghost stories. Jan, thanks for joining. Yes, do you have any ghost stories that you would like to share? And Jan, if you would like to join us, remember I said you don't have to show who you are. You can use your phone, your computer. We just need your mic, obviously. When you log in, and I didn't share this with anyone. You know what, Liz? I switched gears, didn't I? Because of the story that happened in high school. I wasn't prepared. So I did a tangent. Jan, I was talking about some things that had happened, very specific things in my life. And there's one story that I'm not prepared to talk about today. But yes, we are talking about ghost stories. So, well, there was scattered throughout this episode. I don't know if you want to go back and listen. I got little on the stuck up side. And of course, Liz is like, really? And yes. You've never seen a ghost. Now, Jan, have you seen, like in your periphery, have you seen something that caused you to look up and look around? I was talking about those things earlier. And yeah, I'm not going to get into the whole thing again, but are those ghosts? I suppose that was a question. I was talking about what is embedded and built into our DNA and what has kept us alive for millennia. Oh, here we go. Like a dark patch in the air. Oh, wow. Liz, I need your help. What is that word that describes when you look at clouds? I'm sorry, folks. My hands are really starting to hurt. And to type, it's just, Liz, I need your help. What is that word that we as human beings place images on clouds? I forget what that is. Jan, you may know it. I didn't mean any insult by that. Anyway, so help me with that word, please, Elizabeth. So I know you're very sharp when it comes to that stuff. Where we as human beings can, like, if we see a cloud, we can see a dog, we can see a ball. I remember one time I was driving back from Mexico, just south of us from in the San Diego area, and I looked out to the left, and there was a ring of a cloud, and it was so incredible because to me it looked like a bay. And what I mean by a bay is, where ships come in and the shoreline, the cloud was like the shoreline. It was incredible, and it was amazing to me. And it was a bit of a circle. That's all it was. But to me, and the angle, it looked like I was looking at a coastline, but a curved coastline. But anyway, the word I'm talking about, I don't know what it is at the moment, and maybe Liz will be able to get it from me. I'm not giving her an order because I have no privilege or such to do so. But let me see. What is it called when I see images in the clouds? There it is. Thanks, Liz. Pareidolia. Oh, my God. So, Jan, when you saw that dark patch of air. Did you, other than dark patch of air, did you see something like a face or a thing? Because I talked about it on another episode where in my living room right now, because we're packing up a bunch of stuff, we're getting rid of stuff, and there's something in the living room by the door that it's like the cubby holes so people can put their shoes and stuff like that. No, we're not that. But it's something like that where you can put your jackets and things. Well, there is something above it, and it gives me pareidolia. Where I'm passing from the kitchen and I look into the living room, and out of the corner of my eye, I see something there. So Jan says no face, but it wasn't a scary feeling. I hear our loved ones come back to visit us during the holidays. I've never had that. I did have a temperature one time, Jan, and I was home from school. And yes, I did, Liz. Thank you. I had, I guess, what was a fever dream. And my temperature was about 101 or 102. And I was overcome with guilt. And I was apologizing to everyone. And I think I was still a teenager at the time. And that's the closest thing I've ever had. It was a fever dream. I was soaking wet because my temperature was it was high, and I saw people in that dream. But I know that was a specific moment that it was a fever dream. But was I visited by people through the dream? I don't know. I know my temperature was very high. It was like 102. And it lasted for about a day. And when I had fallen asleep, I wasn't completely asleep, but I remember apologizing to people that had come across me. I was sorry for things that I had done. And it was something that's still vivid in my mind. It was in my teenage years when I was in high school and stuff. So that's another thing, Liz, that goes along with my story. There are a lot of things that happened when I was a teenager. I see both you and Elizabeth have some serious stories not ready to share. Please share next episode. Okay, Jan, I'm going to have a few other stories, but the one that I alluded to, I did not like the feeling that I had. I don't even want to go back and look at this episode because I caught myself doing nervous things. I was doing this, and later on, as I'm like, hey, what? Like, oh my God, I had a nervous tick. And I even told people that my knee was trembling. It was like going up and down. I forget what that's called. And like, there it is. It's going again. I am nowhere near able to tell that one. But I do have other stories that I've had, and I will get to them. But thank you. I had a nightmare once that I felt like something sinister and my body felt paralyzed. Oh my God, Jan, my mother at that same house where I talked about that person that walked by. Liz, remember what I mentioned about the vacant room? My mom and my sister Rose and Alma was there as well. We at one time or another we were all at Grandma's house. Um, there's that audible pause again. I told you guys that story that my mother was hanging drapes or curtains in that room, and she was trying to reach and reach, and she said in Spanish, "Ama, necesito ayuda." Ma, I need a little bit of help. Not a little bit. I need help. As she was holding up the curtains, two hands were on her waist and helped her up to put up the curtains. And right away, she came back down, looked back. Thanks, Mom. Grandma was not there. Wow. That house was definitely hot. There was something going on at that house. So, also at that house, My sisters, oh my God. And we talked about it in the sports program. I don't know if I can get them on here, but I, um, my sisters had something happen in that house as well, where Rose was in my room at the time before I moved in. Rose moved out, but I was in that room where I did, I talked about my little aliens movie setup. I Alma was walking towards the room and Rose was standing there, and there was something standing behind my sister Rose. This is Alma's story where she could not speak. Alma and I lose our voice when we're scared. On another tangent, I was in the backyard on our house in Commerce, and I was walking by the garage, and some tools had fallen down, and our little Chihuahua dog that was with me jumped over the tools, and I looked. I'm like, oh my God, it was like a little boa constrictor. It was over 4 feet. It was legal, but I saw it. I'm like, oh, Lenny, come on! We ran inside, and I'm like, Mom, Mom, I, we go outside, and my mother, who really wasn't into theatrics, I probably have more. She went back there, and I pointed to the snake, and she runs inside. She calls animal control, and she says, "There's a snake about 4 to 5 feet." And they're like, yeah. They're thinking of those garter snakes, the garden snakes, those little thingies. And they're like, "Yes, miss. All right. We'll be right over." Okay. And the animal control guy in our area, we kind of knew him. We'd seen him before. And he comes to the back and he's like, all right, let me go see. And he walks back beyond the house where the garage is. And he looks down and I point at it and he's like, oh, okay. He's animal control. No problem. He doesn't run to his truck or anything, but he goes to the back, puts his gloves on, and he gets that long pole or that long stick, the one to get the snakes to coil and all that stuff. So he gets that and he goes back to the garage and he goes, the hoe had fallen over, the shovel, the tools that we had sitting next to the garage. And the snake was caught amongst them or hiding amongst them. And he gets it and he's like, whoa, he had a little bit of trouble corralling it, but he gets it wrapped up. And he's starting to walk out, and then we hear on the street, we look out of a pickup truck, out of a scene of a movie. These two guys jump out, and they're running to come and provide support. The cavalry had arrived. Oh, my God. And even then, I was like, oh, yeah? Is that a garden snake? Oh my God, I never ever forgot it. Well, he went back to his truck and he called for backup. Man, I guess they were near because we were about 10-15 minutes away from animal control. So they were in the area. Oh my God, it was hilarious. I can't make that up, man. And they came over to help him out. It was a big snake. It was illegal having that type of an animal over 4 feet long. So it was crazy. But the point of my story was I lost my voice trying to tell my mom There's some other stories when I was in Baja California, and I always found snakes everywhere I went. Oh my God. But anyway, all right. So whenever I get scared, I lose my voice, which is crazy. And I hope snakes and roaches, I'm a goner. They can have the house. Yeah, it's crazy. A radioactive garden snake, maybe. That's funny. Alma means soul. Yes, Alma. Her name is related to the spiritual world. Now, Alma has a connection as well, but I talked about the connection that my father had. He was on a level, and I told everyone the story, the power of Noriega. My father also went to the seminary, and he attended 7 years. And you guys, a lot of people have accused me of being smart, being intellectual, whatever, but what am I doing on a Monday night? But anyway, it was very difficult because I saw his grades one time from school and they were all tens. In Mexico, it's 1 to 10. 7 years, all tens. This nut fell far from that tree. He was a good man. As you know, he passed away 5 years ago. With these horror stories, I am really, really worried. Because my brother passed away on July 7th of this year, the anniversary. Folks, that was one of the most difficult days of my life. I had a programmed episode on July 8th on my father's anniversary. I did a Monday Night America. I don't think it took me a minute before I broke. I don't want to go back and see that episode, but everyone that was on with me, I thank them then and I thank them now. That was truly one of the most difficult days I ever had. My brother passed away on the Sunday night, July 7th. He could no longer speak. And when I spoke to him, I thanked him for being my brother. I thanked him for the privilege of knowing him. And I knew it was going to be the last time that I was going to speak to him. But he waited for me. And no one knows what I had told him up until this moment. Because I whispered it in his ear. And he was lucid, he was cognizant, he just couldn't speak anymore because he had the tube. If they would remove the tube, he would expire. He suffered so much at the very end that he was ready to go. I cannot imagine what that would be like. I've talked about it in the past. What's going to happen when our eyes close for the last time? Even though I am a man of faith, I worry about that. I don't worry. I think about it. Very melancholy about it. And I apologize. Oh, it's those salty ones. I'm sorry, folks. You guys know you get the real me on this, and I apologize. I do miss him. But I know he's resting now. So he went on July 7th. My father went on July 8th. I'm like, July 9th? We'll never know, right? I told you guys in the movie Final Destination, the DVD, there is a death game, and I played it. And everyone that I shared that game with, they all got a different date. Each and every time they played that dumb game on DVD. It says answer this question, yes or no, or whatever. It's very rudimentary on a DVD. You only have so many controls. And I played it like 15 times. And the date it gave me was March 19th, 2019. And it never changed. When was the movie Final Destination? When did the DVD debut? I had that DVD. Folks, I talked about it every now and then at Final Destination when people would talk about these stories and stuff. It was in 2005. So after around 2005 or 2006, I had the DVD. And every time I played that stupid game, it said March 19, 2019. And since everyone else in my universe had played that stupid game, always got a different game, always got a different date. March 19, 2019. And I've been doing this program for 17 years. I'm in my 17th year. I had talked about it. Thank you, Hope. So Thank you for that. So think about that. Ever since, well, wait a minute. No, wait. January 5th, 2010? No, I thought it was in 2000. Did you add an extra one in there? Would you check that date for me, please? Because this is the original Final Destination. Final Destination 2 was in 2003, 2006 for the third one, 2009. Would you check that one for me? So, or is that when the DVD came out? That's fair. Well, no, they had DVDs in 2001. Actually, I think 1999. But anyway, they are your nines. You realize I laughed at that and then I thought about the numbers? March 19th, 2019. Folks, I really had come to believe that I was one of the few people that knew. And it got airy, folks. Oh my God, Hope! Oh my God, that's it. Look, the DVD and Blu-ray disc release of the included a death date game. Oh my! All right, Hope. All right, folks. You see? Thank you, Hope. It has been confirmed. And if you see it on the internet, oh my God, this is Hope. Thank you. Oh my God, you are a lifesaver, young lady. Hell, you've always been since you've been on the network. You too, Liz. And Jan, I'm sorry. I'm not ignoring you. I do appreciate that. You don't have to worry if you build a relationship with God and you're honest and fair to people. I try to be. So I say this in a good way. Damn you, Hope. Very good. And thank you. So it included a death date game. And that's what I'm talking about. A lot of people don't even know. I said, well, I used to check out the options and the additionals. And every time I played it, it gave me March 19th. So from 2010 all the way through, I would comment every now and then, oh, yeah, I've got until 2019. What? Yeah, March 19th, 2019. People would give me a wry or cryptid look. Well, yeah, the death game. Final Destination. That's what I would always tell people. I believed it. And one of the longest nights of my life was March 18th, 2019. I had psyched myself and I believed it. I want to give a shout out to Aisha, to Hope, to Tony, and Elizabeth. Thank you for the likes on Facebook. I appreciate that, guys. I really do. Thank you. So, that was crazy. Thanks, Hope. I'm sorry I questioned you, but I appreciate it. It did have a death game, man. And I think I have that DVD. I think the DVD's packed away somewhere, but I do have it on digital. So I don't think I gave that one away because that one has significant meanings, the death game. And it didn't matter how many times I played that stupid game. It always came back the same date. That's why it got into me, man. Yeah, but I'm judicious about it, Hope. I don't brag that much because I know that thing is out there. So, but, and you know what is the funniest meme related to Final Destination? Oh my God. Okay. We got to look at a Final Destination meme. Log truck. Oh my God. I love this one. And the first time I saw this meme, I died laughing. And I think this is the one that I saw. Everyone in the left lane has seen Final Destination. I love it because you know what happened in the second movie. Because I think the third one was a roller coaster. But the second game was that log, man. It's glorious. There are a lot of memes. It's 2003 and you're about to acquire a phobia that will last the rest of your life. That's a scene, I believe, from the movie Final Destination. So, and it's crazy in the movie. So when you see this, it's like, everyone in the left lane has seen Final Destination. They will not be behind it. God gave you a possum this year. You should be good to go for another year. What is the significance of having a possum? Because Liz told me that they're harmless animals and they're good for the environment. What does that mean? If there's any significance to that, please. But I know I'm way off topic and I'm doing that stuff, but I came to believe that that was it. March 19, 2019, and it was ingrained. I planned my life around it. And folks, the last 2 years were stressful. I still have proof of it. No one know. Well, my former executor knows, but it's right here. It's the green folder, baby, right here in my desk. Where everything was hidden. What to do with the insurance proceeds. Do this, do that. All the things that I had. Do you know, guys, believe it or not, and I was so sad when Star Trek The Experience closed. For those of you that went to Las Vegas and were able to experience it, it was a thin slice of heaven of the future, Star Trek. I had written in my will, and I had included about 40 or 50 people as beneficiaries. And it was, I had done the math and I'd worked inflation in. It was enough money to stay at the Las Vegas Hilton for a night, to purchase the ticket to Star Trek The Experience, and I think gas money if you were to drive over there. And I had mentioned all these people that I said, if you want to know a little bit about me, go to Star Trek The Experience, because it talks about the future. And for those of you that know, I was doing poems last time. Oh my God, Miniver Chibi. Oh my God, I'm having a Miniver Chibi moment. Folks, I know I'm all over the place. I'm tired. I'm punchy. I've been up. I've been up since 1 o'clock this morning. I finally fell asleep around 2:30 because there was a lot of stuff going on. I told you I shuttled a friend up north. I drove 200 miles just on that. I got back around 2:30 and I went out, and then the alarm went off at 5. When the alarm went off at 5 Pacific time, I'm like, oh hell no. I can't do it. Oh hell no. I cannot do that snap that girls do. I find that funny. Not that I would, actually I do. I want to be able to do that. The neck thing, but I can't move my neck. It hurts. I definitely can't do it, but when women do that, oh hell no, with that attitude, if I could do it, I would want to do that. So let me see. Guys, I'm sorry, I am all over the place. We'll get back to some of the stories right now. But possums sightings signify fertility. 5 years, unexpected blessings and success. Possum embodies peaceful transitions and conflict avoidance. It teaches you how to find fast fixes to complicated problems. It presents problem solving and can easily adapt to various life roles. It symbolizes deception and illusion around you. Wow. Possums are seen as a sign of resourcefulness, adaptability, and resilience. Well, that certainly isn't my spirit guide. I want to have that done. I have to be in the right frame of mind, but I want to see what my spirit guide is, or my spirit animal. I've joked about it on Facebook, as you know, that I've had a few spirit guides, but if you guys laughed at it, that was the point. But all of the stuff I'm talking about is related to paranormal and the afterlife. Folks, I am a believer. I am a God-fearing individual. And the people will come and say, wait, Reg, but you talk about geology and you talk about not the Manhattan schist per se. And, you know, that's one of the most toughest types of metamorphic rock that we have. But I low-key wanted to be a possum at this point. I do too. Only the Cyclops was given the date of their death, and it cost them an eye. I know I lost my vision long before that. But And I thank you, Aisha. Hi, Aisha. So, guys, this is Roger. This is Roger when I am all over the place. So I'm sorry. But I have written a great deal about that which will come. When James Kirk in Star Trek Generations begins to fade away and he says, "Oh my." The final adventure, what is it going to be? People ask me, well, how is it that you believe in a deity? And if you are of the Judeo Christian belief system, there's roughly 8 to 12,000 years of yes, yes. I'm not going to argue the number right now because I have nor the time nor the inclination. But anyway, we have about 12,000 years of biblical history. How do you the because they caught me talking about an article that I read that up in Canada they discovered billion-year-old rock, continental rock. It made news within the last 10 years. Some of the oldest rock we've ever been able to date. And how do you, what do you mean? How do I what? This is, well, if you are a man of science, as you say, and you're also a man of faith, how do you? It's a bigger picture. I believe the Almighty created everything. We don't have the answers to everything. And I will not do a program on religion. I am not prepared to engage that. Because I will tell you, when it comes to my belief system, I've studied it my entire life. Folks, I showed you the books that I have. I don't study it to know more. I study it to try to understand people. And oh my God, I just saw her comment. I am an INTJ, and I know everyone in psychology, and they just flinched right now because they call that voodoo science. But the whole thing behind Myers Briggs type watching is to learn about people. And I think that's why it appeals to me. I've done a Myers Briggs, I have not done a Myers Briggs program in some years. I think we should do that next year. Maybe in May or June of next year. I have to get it set up where you can take the test. Well, you guys can take a Myers Briggs test right now. I am an INTJ. And it was on my dating app. I took the dating app down. But I do want to thank someone here. I don't want to put them on blast. I want to thank someone here that reviewed my profile and helped me clean it up a great deal. But when I was talking on Saturday about skin in the game, I do believe you need to have skin in the game. When that young man was asking, the 25-year-old, I was blown away. I talked about it with my coworkers and family. I said, people are coming in to talk about that stuff, and it's amazing to me. And I am worried because I don't know if I'm going to have answers. But when you type in INTJ, it takes you straight to the 16 personalities. And this is Roger. And folks, I was going to be an architect. When I was growing up, Roger would draw city street like maps, city grids. I would design cities, bus routes. But yes, I was that boring. This is who I am. I I should have been a transportation planner in the real perfect job. Oh, it's a very height of perversion. But I'm kidding, of course. But oh, my watch is saying, dude, you gotta take a moment. Mindfulness. I should have been a transportation planner. I think that would have been my rate entry. But when it comes to drawing stuff, I cannot draw human beings. It's beyond me. It's a skill that I do not have. The stick figure, that's me, baby. That's as good as it gets. But I would draw fields with buildings, valleys, bridges. I would design bridges as a 5, 6, and 7 year old at angles, crossing a ravine, a river. People thought I was going to be an architect when I was growing up, and I kind of thought I did too. So my personality type is an architect. I should have been, because I love, you guys know that my history and our history is a big deal. And I'm working on something really big. So it's about who we are. I'm writing something, and I think it gave it away. But I am an INTJ, known as an architect. Is a personality type with introverted, intuitive, thinking, and judging traits. Oh my God. Fire and brimstone, baby. The law says this. Here's the judgment. Hallelujah. Let's get it done. These thoughtful tacticians love perfecting the details of life, applying creativity and rationality to everything they do. Their inner world is often private and a complex one. Folks, I've admitted things tonight. Like I told you about that horror story that happened in school. There's only one other witness to it, and he was on our Saturday program, and I've never mentioned that one. So people really don't know who I am. When I'm on these programs and when you meet me in person, what you see is what you get. But I've talked about my damaged psyche. I rarely ever reveal what I do. You got a little bit of it tonight about the architect stuff and the planner, designer. I was always off somewhere else. I was out here, and when I talked about the people that were on my list in my will, I still have it written down. All the people that I wanted to go to Las Vegas and to go and enjoy Star Trek The Experience. But it closed down. And that's why you've heard me talk about wanting to buy the property and build my own Voyager bridge and sets and stuff. From Voyager, of all things. Because I visited the sets on June 12th, 1998. Thank you, Joe Minosky and Paramount Pictures. In the movie First Contact, when Riker is talking to Zefram Cochrane, and he talks about your theories create or allow for us to create fleets of ships that go out into the vastness. But because of what's about to happen tomorrow, April 5th, 2063, the world realizes that we're no longer alone. And within 50 years, sickness, hunger, it's all eradicated. That is a future that I struggle to try to build to get to, believe it or not. Do you remember the Star Trek Voyager episode Coda that at one time made me doubt life after death? Wow. I know the episode Coda. That's where the Matrix, right? That theme. Is that the one? Or is that where Janeway is in that suburban place with the monks? Which one is Coda? Please. Is that where Neelix bought it and he was dead for 17 hours? Which one was that? So people with the INTJ personality type, architects, are intellectually curious. Oh my God, yes. Individuals with a deep-seated thirst for knowledge. I will never stop reading. INTJs tend to value creativity or to value creative ingenuity, straightforward rationality, and self improvement. They consistently work toward enhancing intellectual abilities and are often driven by an intense desire to master any and every topic that piques their interest. I have in my past said, I believe I have the ability. I. Narcissist. I'm able to have a conversation with anyone about anything. See, I've never told anyone that, but I believe it. Logical, I have my faults, and quick-witted. I'd like to believe I am. INTJs pride themselves on their ability to think for themselves, not to mention their uncanny knack for seeing right through phoniness. Oh, I don't have that, do I hope? And hypocrisy. Hypocrisy, yes. I see through that. Phoniness, I can detect things, but I am naive when it comes to that. Because their minds are never at rest, these personalities may sometimes struggle to find people who can keep up with their nonstop analysis of everything around them. But when they do find like-minded individuals who appreciate their intensity and depth of thought, INTJs form profound and intellectually stimulating relationships that they deeply treasure. Yes. Yeah, the Matrix. Yes. When he says, I want to bring you into my Matrix. Yeah, okay. I did. Yes, you're right. I've thought about that as well. And that episode scared me on a plane. Is that true? Is that real? Coda. It had me questioning too, young lady. INTJs question most things, basing their beliefs on solid evidence, reasoning, and rationality. Many personality traits trust the status quo. I do not, relying on conventional wisdom and other people's expertise to guide their lives. But ever skeptical INTJ personalities prefer to make their own discoveries. Yes! In their quest to find better ways of doing things, they aren't afraid to break the rules or risk disapproval. Okay. Yeah, kind of. In fact, they often rather enjoy it. Yeah, actually, yes. I loved bucking the system. I could have been an attorney, and I would always fight for what's right. So, in my mind, what is right. But as anyone with this personality type tells you, the new idea isn't worth anything unless it actually works. INTJs want to be successful, not just inventive. They bring a single minded drive to the work, applying the full force of their insight, logic, and willpower. They have little patience. Oh my God, yes. For anyone who tries to slow them down by enforcing pointless rules or offering poorly thought out criticism, though astute observations are generally welcome. Yes. Thanks for stopping in, Aisha. Appreciate it, kiddo. We are independent to the core, want to shake off other people's expectations and pursue their own ideas. Yes. I do have an independent streak. I don't mind acting alone. I do. It says they prefer their own company most of the time. Yes. That woman understood that of me. And I was given time to be alone. I needed to be alone. There were times when I would leave work. As you know, my commute was an hour and a half to get home every day. I would leave work at 4:30 and I'd be home by 6. Some days I'd be home a little earlier, but it was an hour and a half. I would call her to say, I'm on my way home. Is there anything, blah, 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 whatever? She would say no. I said, all right. It's 4:40. For the next 30, 40 minutes, I'm off air. Oh, wow. 2020. Wow. That's crazy. I need to be left alone, or I would shut off the phone and I would just listen to music on the car, or I would listen to, at 5 o'clock, there was a religious station that would pray the rosary. I would pray along with them. See, I don't think I've ever told anyone that. I do have a thirst for knowledge. And yes, I do have social frustrations. There's no doubt. Yes, the chess game of life, it's crazy. That's what an INTJ is, one of the 16 personalities. So, way, way, way off topic. So, next week, I'm going to share another experience that I had in my life. And if you want to share some of the stories, please come on and join. You can still do it right now. I actually, folks, I am going to finish up right now in the next few minutes. But this is a safe place where you can share your experiences, your stories, your thoughts. I'm not going to ridicule you. The only thing, and folks, I am closed minded, I do not tolerate hate. But if one spends time thinking that through, I do not tolerate hate. Do you see what I'm implying? I do not tolerate hate. I myself may be hating people who hate. What do they say in TV? You are protecting yourself, or I am. We have rules so that I don't become what you are. When I say I don't tolerate hate, I'm effectively hating. So I'm always careful when I say that. If I detect hate, I'm out. I am out. Will not have anything to do with it. So I know I really went off topic today, but it's good. It is done. It is what it is. But you learned a little bit more about me today, and I am an open book. Except you have to open the book. I'm not going to tell you, but if you inquire, there may be, but I'm not prepared to talk about what happened in high school. In that, I had to think that one through. And as I said, there was only one other witness to it, and he showed up on Saturday Sports Talk with the guys. I'm going to talk to him about it. It was an experience. Oh, yeah, my neck's really hurting now. Yeah, it's actually been hurting all night, but I'm tired. I've been up from 1 o'clock to 2:30, and then from 2:30 to 5:40, because I shut the alarm off and I set it for 5:40, and then I woke up again. I'm sorry, guys. I am tired. I'm physically hurting right now. But I want to thank you for spending time with me today. And I apologize that I really went off topic, but this is Roger. Aisha, thank you. Elizabeth, thank you. Hope, thank you. Jan, thank you. And for everyone else that watches later, give us a like. If you want to subscribe, makes the old guy feel good. And next week, I promise to do better about sticking on topic. We're going to continue with paranormal items during the holidays. But I will not have that particular high school story. I will tangentially refer to it. Folks, that scared me in ways that I am not ready to revisit it. So hopefully I will be able to in the future. I didn't at 7 o'clock. I did not take my meds. Yeah, I'm hurting right now. So I want to thank everyone, guys. Seriously. Thanks for coming to spend a few minutes with me. I'm nobody. And yet you come over to spend time with me. Folks, the only real thing that we all have is freedom and choice. then you come on over and spend it with us on the network, not me, the network. So I appreciate it, guys. Love you all. I thank you. And we'll talk about some more. We'll talk about the end of, hauntings, the paranormal, but we'll have a passing on, if you will, into the other realms. And we'll talk about. Maybe we'll talk about Coda a little bit. That was a good episode. You're right, Aisha. That was a great episode. But I do want to thank all of you, and it means a great deal. If you were here or on air, I was, oh, that's not true. Or I would say, oh, I was supposed to jump in and defend your honor on that last line, right? Let's do it again. Let's try it again. I got an engineer to do it 13 times. I loved my job. I got away with murder. I appreciate you all. I thank you for spending time with us here with me and on the network. And life is good, folks. Enjoy it. There was something that I did on Facebook, or there was a little thing that really struck me. I'm going to go to Facebook right now. Ooh, I didn't show that. There's this video that I posted. And I'm going to get it going right now. Give me a moment. I'm going to go to it right now. There's someone on their deathbed wishing they have all the time that you do. Were you able to hear the music, Liz? So I had to cut it out. But the video says there are people on their deathbed right now wishing they have all the time that we do. Do it sad, do it unmotivated, do it alone, do it scared, do it nervous, do it heartbroken, do it vulnerable, do it stressed, do it embarrassed. Because we can. And there are people that can't. You all know that young lady that I admire. She was the basketball player. You heard the story. She was 18. She was going to die. And she knew she was going to die. And she dedicated her last days for those that would come after her. I wish I remembered her name right now. I will talk about her next week. She left us. And our world is better and stronger for it. And I'm sad that I don't remember her name right now. But I will have it next week. Those are the people that keep me going. And I wish to be 1/100th of what they were in their short lives.